I never thought my life would become a tale intertwined with darkness and tragedy. Yet here I am, sharing my story, a story of love, loss, and the eerie presence that haunted my existence. My journey began in Amityville, New York, where I fell deeply in love with Ronald DeFeo, a man forever marked by the shadows of his past. Growing up, Ronald's life was anything but easy. He came from a troubled family, with a father who ruled with an iron fist and a mother who seemed to fade into the background. The home was fraught with tension, and Ronald often felt like a prisoner in his own life. I first met him during a summer gathering with mutual friends. He was charming, with a smile that lit up the room, and I was drawn to his intelligence and wit. Beneath that exterior, however, I sensed a depth of pain, a vulnerability that sparked my desire to help him. Our romance blossomed quickly. We spent long nights talking, sharing our dreams and fears and bonding over our mutual love for music and art. I believed that I could help Ronald overcome his troubled upbringing. But just as I began to envision a bright future with him, the unimaginable happened. On November 13th, 1974, Ronald's world shattered. That night, in a fit of rage, he murdered his entire family, his parents, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. The news spread like wildfire, transforming him into a monster in the eyes of the world. I remember the moment I heard the news. It felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. I couldn't comprehend how the man I loved could commit such an unspeakable act. My heart was torn between disbelief and an overwhelming sense of grief. In the aftermath, I found myself in a nightmare. Though I was innocent, the community viewed me with suspicion. Friends turned away, whispers filled the air, and I felt the weight of judgment pressing down on me. But despite the horror of Ronald's actions, I held on to my love for him. I believed that beneath the monstrous surface, he was still the man I had fallen in love with. As the days turned into weeks, the isolation I felt deepened. I often found myself wandering through our favorite spots, haunted by memories of happier times. One evening, as I sat alone in my room, I began to hear whispers. At first, I dismissed them as figments of my imagination, a product of grief and loneliness. But the whispers grew more distinct, and a sense of dread settled in my chest. I realized that I wasn't alone in my sorrow. Something was lingering in the shadows of my life. Desperate for answers, I sought help from paranormal investigators. They arrived armed with equipment designed to capture the supernatural, and I felt a mix of hope and fear. During their investigations, they recorded chilling sounds that sent shivers down my spine. I watched as they captured shadowy figures on camera, proof that the spirits of the DeFeo family were still present, trapped in the house where their lives had been violently cut short. One night, during a particularly intense seance, the medium claimed to connect with one of Ronald's sisters. The atmosphere thickened, and I felt an electric charge in the air. Her spirit spoke of pain and anger, emotions that echoed the turmoil that had consumed their family. As I listened, my heart ached. I realized that these spirits were not merely remnants of the past. They were trapped souls, yearning for peace. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming urge to help them, to urge them to let go of their pain and find solace. Throughout this ordeal, my connection with Ronald deepened. I began receiving messages in dreams, visions of him that felt so vivid, so real. He would appear to me, filled with love and remorse, and I would wake up with tears in my eyes. I started writing letters to him, pouring out my heart, sharing my fears, my memories, and my hopes for his redemption. Those letters became my sanctuary, a lifeline that helped me navigate the tumultuous sea of emotions swirling inside me. In my search for healing, I realized that I needed to confront the community's pain as well. I organized a memorial service at the site of the DeFeo family home, inviting community members and anyone affected by the tragedy. This gathering was my way of honoring the lives lost and acknowledging the grief that had permeated our town. The day of the memorial arrived, and I stood before a crowd of familiar faces, many filled with sorrow and resentment. As I spoke, my heart raced. I opened up about my love for Ronald, about the man I knew beneath the tragedy. I urged everyone to find it in their hearts to forgive, to recognize that pain could transform into understanding. The words poured out of me, fueled by a deep desire to foster healing. I felt a palpable shift in the atmosphere, as if the spirits around us were listening, hoping for resolution. As time passed, I gradually distanced myself from the haunting memories of my past. I moved to a new town, seeking refuge from the echoes of my old life. Yet even in my new surroundings, Ronald's presence felt inescapable. I sensed him guiding me through my darkest moments, urging me to find strength within myself. Determined to turn my pain into purpose, I dedicated myself to helping others who had experienced loss and trauma. I became a counselor, drawing from my experiences to support those navigating their own grief. Each day brought challenges, but I found fulfillment in guiding others through their darkest hours. My work became a way to honor Ronald's memory, not as a murderer, but as the man I had loved. The journey has not been easy. Some days I still hear those whispers, the echoes of a past that refuses to fade. Yet, I have learned to embrace those moments, to find strength in my vulnerability. I understand that while the shadows of my past will always be a part of me, they do not define who I am. Through my experiences, I have come to realize that love can endure beyond death. The haunting memories of Ronald and the DeFeo family have transformed into a powerful narrative of resilience. I have learned that healing is not linear. It is a complex journey filled with ups and downs, moments of clarity intertwined with relapses into despair. In the end, my story is not just about loss. It's about redemption, hope, and the power of connection. Ronald may have been haunted by his actions, but his spirit has guided me toward a life filled with purpose and understanding. Together, we forged a path of healing, demonstrating that even in the darkest of circumstances, love can triumph. As I stand here today, sharing my journey, I know that my life has been forever altered by the tragedy that unfolded. Yet I choose to embrace the lessons I've learned and to carry Ronald's memory forward, not as a symbol of horror, but as a testament to the enduring power of love. In sharing my story, I hope to inspire others to seek healing and find light amid their darkness.